Okay, good evening and welcome everyone to these cosmic coffee sessions. Today's date is the 6th of May already, 2025. Time's just flying. And it is 7:04 precisely here, 7:05 precisely here in Ireland. And we have a beautiful guest with us today, Roxanne Swainheart. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. Welcome, welcome. So please
Thank you so
introduce
much.
yourself.
Oh, like she said, hi everyone. I'm Roxanne Swainheart. I'm a channeler. Been doing this ascension work 12 years now, going on my 12th year, I suspect. Uh, Channeling and understanding creation from a perspective of a lost human that didn't know it was a creator, and doing all the awakening ideas and yeah, and that's me. What
I
else? Yeah, ask your questions because I don't
well,
want to go off into a
I was
rant.
I was just going to say that's very brief, but oh my God, you channel. And when did this all start for you? I know you said it was quite recent. I can't remember the year you said, but so there must have been things in your childhood that led you. There must have been previous experiences that led you to who you are today as a channel. And who do you?
Oh, I'm sure in some kind of past lives to give me ability. Uh, I think the easiest ability I have that just comes very naturally is speaking. You know, so I was in the retail business doing sales for a very long time before I discovered. Uh, I don't know if it's the ability to channel, and that happened again in 2013. And that it took place by I was in a conversation. There was this little first one was a light language idea when I was meditating to the Hathors. And I started getting a language in my mind, but wonderfully, um, I was getting the interpretation at the same time. So the language was not words; it was more tones. And those tones from the Hathors turned into words. So I was kind of like, that's cool. And then, reading some of the work I've discovered when I come across Seth material, reading Seth's work, it's like the Pleiadians that you channel and Sly and anyone that I channel, they don't speak English. We speak English. So, but what we're doing as channel is translating that frequency, that vibration. So, I had very good intuition in the sales day, very good uh, trust in what my mind was telling me was the right thing to say and how to go into situations when I'm doing my retail sales job. And that spilled over when I did that channeling and I got that language. And then one day we're sitting around after a guided meditation and we were just basically shooting the shit about spirituality with about 15 people. And someone had asked a question, and like it was a very deep question, and people were like trying to answer it. And then I got this wonderful voice in my head, and it said, "Hey, Roxy, why don't you say this?" And I said it, and everyone goes, "Holy crap, that's brilliant! Where did you get that?" And I was like, "I don't know, there's someone in my head." So after we talked about it a little bit, um, on my way home, the voice came back and says, "My name is Hugh. I'd like to teach you to channel if you wouldn't want to be a channeler." And at this time, I'm devouring Bashar, devouring Abraham Hicks. I've just woke up, and I'm just on that. And I was like, absolutely, I want to learn to channel. So he took me through the process, and that's when Osipius came in. And there were quite a few others. And then Sly came in, and Sly's still here. And I have Martha here. So, and they're not necessarily from collectives like the Pleiadians. In my event I did out in California, I did a live channeling out in California for a group of people. The Andromedans came in. So I channel collectives as well, but mainly when I'm doing my work, my classes, my YouTubes, it's either Sylvester or Osifius or, recently Martha has been showing up in the classes, talking about different ideas about, self-exploration, ascending the human, things that my focus and my work is directed toward. So it started, and a friend of mine got a video camera and said, "We got to record this." And another friend, the law of attraction just totally worked. Another friend says, "Hey, I'll make you a YouTube channel. Let me show you how to do it." And got a YouTube. Another friend of mine, uh, a great channel in the United States, Rob Gauthier, said, "Hey, I can show you how to make a website over on." I can't remember Nix or no, something free. It was a free thing, and he goes, "Here, let me do it for you." What do you want to call it? Odyssey of Ascension. And so I was off and running like 2 weeks after I learned how to channel. I had a YouTube, I had videos up, and I had a website. And it was just
Wow.
wonderful.
Yeah,
And here
that's
we
that's
are.
very quick. I
It
love it
was. It
when
was.
it's boom, boom, boom because it just flows.
Oh yeah. I learned to get out of my way. My ego has no idea how to navigate time. My ego is very good now. See, well, look at what my ego does. My personality. It picks up a cup. That's it. See, with my thinking mind, I can pick up the cup. I can dial a phone, but I can't predict the future. Only thing about the future is fear through the past. So I learned not to navigate reality with my ego and learn what you just said, go with the flow. Whatever comes, use your intuition to navigate and use the expression of the ego to pick up objects, to drive the car, to communicate in a fashion, but not from a structure of a separated posture like the ego is. It's comparative, it's judgmental, it's regretful, it's hopeful, it's needful, it's desireful, it's full of all kinds of things that are very human. And as soon as not as soon as I learned these things through these many years, it's given me an absolute exceptional life that I can never have come up with. There's just no way I could have had this relationship to my everyday life because I didn't have, that could be replaced by a great job or a whole bunch of money or validation by the collective. That was my happiness, but that was my human happiness as I was taught. Hey, you'll be happy when this, that, and here you go. And then poof, everything's happy. No, thanks for playing, not a chance. I had to get right with here. So that's when I started learning me, developing me, taking down the things that weren't me, that were inherited of my culture, my parents, my teachers, my society. Those aren't me, those are my personality. So I started developing the persona, living my life, and it's turned into this absolute fairy tale of a dream life. It's just gorgeous. I have the love of my life. I have a great YouTube. I get a platform to speak. I have classes that are filled. I get to commune with humanity as they, on this journey, offer guidance, as they give me absolute guidance and they give me ideas of my own reflection. And it's just a symbiotic relationship of perfect love. But there I go babbling again. You have to stop me sometimes because I love to talk.
So, um, it, it sounds like you've got so much to share, and I'm so interested in your childhood experiences. Was there anything that happens that was, did you have any spiritual experiences, or do you remember past lives, or?
No, the only thing I remember as a child, I don't remember, like, I think the first time I remember is like 5 years old. And I was riding a bicycle and when I was living in Germany. And then the next memory was when I was in California. Oh no, same time in Germany was when I spilled my drink in kindergarten. It was a German kindergarten. And, I learned German and spoke German. My mom was Greek, spoke Greek. My dad spoke American. So I got a lot of languages confused and I got a little confusion. So there was not a whole lot of spiritual ideas at all. There was I'm a transgender woman. There was enormous ideas about being a girl and then doing girly things and then getting ridiculed, but that wasn't love or spirituality. That was guilt and what humans do to you for not being what you're supposed to be, on the outside, and then getting the ridicule and the
I
ideas
have
behind
to,
that.
I would like to correct you because I think that it's not, I think it's more that you're not what they want you to be. It's
Yeah,
not that you shouldn't be who you are, you should be, but it's so,
that's
it
what I said though. That they're trying to make me be who I wanted. What am I?
yeah.
What am I missing? That I'm not understanding what you're saying. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
you said that you're not who they think you should be. I don't.
Right.
I think you are who you
Well,
should be.
I know that now, but I'm not at 8.
Okay.
At 8, I was getting my ass kicked by my dad because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. Oh, no, 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 no. Believe me, I wanted to be that, but I couldn't be that. Does that make sense? I
Yes.
know that now. I transitioned in 2010. When you have this feminine idea of reality, feminine concepts, thinking like a woman, wanting to be that little helper. I mean, and you live with that and you try to hide it and you try to take on this persona of manliness and do these things to appease your parents and try to gain their love, which you're supposed to give unconditionally, but humans don't give anything unconditionally. They got to put stipulations on anything. Very, very few humans understand the absolute bliss of unconditional love, which is total allowance of another to express themselves. And so, of course, and I understood because they have image and they have, oh, my son is not being an athlete like my other son. He's not very smart like my other son. So it was very comparative and very judgmental. But as I grew through my life, realizing there's something wrong here. I'm not gay, but I love men. I'm horrible at being married because I want to be the girl. So that was a very difficult, especially with my wife. It was a wonderful chaos catastrophe, but it was the blissful experience of being a separated human. So I'll never, ever, ever regret 1 ounce of my steps on this planet because it's all evolutionary from my collective, from my whole self, if you will. And then in 2010, one thing led to another that I was dressed as a woman for a circumstance, and I was like, oh, and that I'm telling you, Soma, that was the last piece of the puzzle. That everything clicked, everything fell into place, and that was like in February, and then June the 1st, I walked out of the house and never went back to dressing or being like a man. Got my name changed. Went through the processes of in the struggles of being transgender with the world that's very exposed to physical reality, living in the distortion as law, as fact, as what it's supposed to be according to their own beliefs. And hey, they were raised like that. I can't get mad at them for being who they are, but I can represent who I am. And if they don't like it, have a Coke and a smile, and I'll see you later. And most people did that. They were, I don't want to hang around with you anymore, or I like you for who you are. That's great and supportive. And then ones that weren't supportive, and it was an absolute priceless education on understanding my relationship to reality from what the mirror represented to me and what I held as a truth that was a counterance to my own well-being, like guilt about being who I wanted to be, a regret of losing friends and alienating my family, and things like that. But then those are belief systems, those are emotions. That has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with human. And I was like, oh, this is the dualistic nature we've created in our separation to have a good and a bad, a yes and a no, and a us and a them, and all these dualities. And I was like, oh, I'm starting to see this. And, that's when my spiritual awakening started to happen. But at a young age, it was very difficult to express who I was and always put on an act. Always. How do this person want me to be today? How does this person want me to be today? And that carried over into my high school years and always being the people pleaser, and a lot of people pleasers out there, because you're terrified of judgment. You're terrified, speaking subjectively, of course, I'm terrified of judgment and ridicule and rejection because I didn't learn an ounce, not 1 ounce of that I was enough. I didn't learn anything that my existence in and of itself is enough. And I had to maintain an avatar. I had to maintain these images and try to get this acceptance, and rejection hurt.
Can I just intervene there? Because I think what you're saying is, I don't think I know what you're saying is very important, especially for these days. So, what would you say to people that are feeling now how hopefully you used to feel, and that hopefully you don't feel like that anymore? But what would you say to people that are feeling like that now, with a fear of rejection, a fear of ridicule, ostracized
Yes.
families and society?
Well, what I do is what I don't do. Well, first off, let me start with that one. What I don't do is try to fix the outside. That's ludicrous. I am not, okay, just as a side note, I am not an advocate for transgender ideas that they're trying to get done. I love what they're doing, but I'm not going to join that fight. I don't demand anybody to participate in my reality on what I expect them to call me, be me, and stuff like that. But of course, I do want the courtesy of a public bathroom, which is an issue here in the United States because you have a whole bunch of fake Christians trying to do the right thing for their little look at me, I'm awesome egos that, this is this and that's that. But anyways, but I don't fight for the transgender ideas. I won't put up that fight. So you don't start on the outside. So if people really want to know, if they have fears of a person, they have anxieties, they have an emotional, the first thing I would tell them is understand you can recognize it because you have an observer inside of yourself. We all can go like this. Every single one of us goes, yeah, I don't know why I did that. That's what my mind was thinking. You are the owner of what you did. You are the owner of your mind, of your thoughts. Who is you? That's not your name. That's what humans call you. But who are you? That's what you need to see is you have this self that observes these emotions. Very difficult at first because when you get swept up by emotions, rage, anger, you're in the anger, you're in the rage, you're in the fear. You're, my God, what are we going to do? I'm so scared. You're in it, but then you have to get masterful enough to say, whoa, I'm reacting. Hang on here. I can feel my anxiety. I can feel my fear. I'm recognizing that is a belief system. It is a structure. My obligation to do something for my boss, for my parents, for my spouse that I inherently don't want to do. I'm recognizing the obligation belief systems that will tell me I must behave this way in order to get the reality of expectation that would keep you in the fair light of these people and the version of the person you've created for them so they can still keep having that version of you. So if you keep doing what you're doing, you will never, ever become a different person. That's the key to change. Change doesn't occur because of the outside. The inside creates the outside. The inner truths, what you hold as a truth creates your relationship. It doesn't create the monetary. It doesn't create the physical reality. It creates relationships. That's what you must understand. So I have a relationship with hope. Hope leads to doubt and disappointment. It's something that I hope tomorrow is going to be better. I will be better then So that means my vibration now is in the toilet because I'm not worth what I am now. I'm only worth what my mind says I can be. That right there is an idea of what could be, what hopefully might happen. And then you spend your entire life trying to achieve these ideas of the ego, of the structured system. So recognition of those ideas through emotions. I'm telling you, emotions, all of your emotions, even the happy emotions are the limitations of you compared to what unconditional love is. But you can still use joy, use those things, but don't become obsessed with them. Don't become fanatic. I have to behave joyfully. No, you're joy by nature. What you have to do is get the parts out of you that say, this is not you. And what was not me? Regret, anxiety, fear, need, want, desire, sloth, sinning, pride, prejudice, comparative. All the things that I taught and it was taught by a human society, I embraced because I was born, I didn't know I was a creator. The game of humanity is you're automatically not you. And there's a void inside of you, and we start creating these, and we start developing pride because we get compliments, we get love, we get attaboys, we get good, and then, oh, it wasn't right, then we get ridicule, then we get judgment, then we get the idea of less than and failure, and then we have to navigate the world and try for the best. And that's a great, absolutely unconditional, perfect human life. But when you wake up, then you're no longer human. You're an observer of the human that you are, that you've created for this wonderful journey. So when I started seeing the parts of me that made me feel pain, I got mad at you, a person. I'm mad at you because your behavior hurt me. That's not them. That's my interpretation of them. So my belief says that action of the unconditional creation that it is wrong. So they don't suffer, I do. I can't change them. I've got to get rid of that condition that says that's wrong, because it's not wrong. Nothing in creation is wrong, because nothing is right. It's all just simply true. It's all happening.
That is
How
such a
you
wonderful.
relate to it,
That
how
what
you
you
relate
what
to
you're
it
saying.
becomes your world. Go ahead.
Sorry, Roxanne. Yeah, it's very deep what you're saying, and I can understand it and resonate with what you're saying. I would love you to channel. Do you think you may be able to?
Of course. I'm a channeler, of course.
Oh, I I I would love to do this again.
Yeah.
But for now, would you like to channel?
Well, yeah.
Oh,
I can bring in Sly. Is that good?
yeah. Tell us about Sly.
Well, Sly is goes by Sylvester is his introductory name, but he has a collective, just like we're all whole beings. You know, we have a whole bunch of ourselves that we go out and create all these different multifaceted diamond and selves and different ideas of densities and dimensions and planes of existence. And he's a collective whole, and he comes down and communicates with me and brings us his wisdom. And I met him pretty much about a year after I met Osifius. So I suppose 2014 when Sylvester came in. And yeah, I mean, I'll bring him in and you get to know him. Remember, he's very straightforward. I'll just let you know, okay? Are you ready? You got questions for him? I'm asking. I don't know.
Oh, do I have any questions? I do.
You don't have to, but
I do.
just
I do.
curious.
I have
Okay,
questions.
let me get him in here, okay? It's real simple. Let me get him. Hey, what is it, Soma?
Yes.
Hello, Soma. My name is Sylvester Sly, as you know. I'm going to kick my legs up. I'm going to grab Roxanne's tea, and we're going to shoot the shit. What do you got for us?
I would like to know what's in my future.
Why? So let's look at this. I'm going to draw something for you. Okay? This right here is now. This is future, right? So this point is the future. Well, what about this one? 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 Every single nanosecond of choice, no matter what, leads to a different probability. But you're not looking for a better future. You're looking for a better you, because the you that's whole in the now creates an unconditional resonance of perfection as it moves through the now. Do you know how you get a future? Can I explain that to you?
Please.
You ready? I'm going to draw you another picture. I love drawing. This whole thing is mine. Roxy has it here for classes. She has it here for her sessions. So here we go. So right now, there is nothing but now. But you have clock time, don't you? You have physical time because you live in a third density, okay? Or let's call it a three-dimensional. It's fourth density, fourth dimension, or third density. They're interchangeable. So let's go with the dimension idea. So you have a 3D dimension. Watch me. Are you watching? I have space. I can move in three-dimensional ideas. Look at me. I can move. Imagine 2D. 2D, they can only look left and right. They can't look up or down because they don't have the dimension. That's the experience of 2D. 3D, you can move. However, humanity, in their plane of existence, added another part to the recipe. It added time to the dimension. That's why this is called a space. You have space. Look at me. I can move around. And I have time. Now, there's two kinds of time. There's your psychological time / inner time, and it's, let's say, managed by an inner sense, which humans aren't connected with, because humans are living in the distortion of separation, and they have daytime and nighttime. That's the natural cicada times, and you guys can, circadian times that you can naturally do. You have those algorithms. You have the tides, you have the moon, you have everything that's all set up for you. But humans, in their great wisdom, created industry, and they created clock time. And then you got knockers over there in England saying, get up, time to go to work. And we started valuing time, and then we got a clock, and then you made the clock, and then you start holding people accountable. So everything is based on time here. People don't think and live now. No, what do? They use their memory, which is called the past, to create the future. Because you can't create the future out of anything but the past. Because you can't make anything up. There's no making it up because there's no reference. Because a creator's mind creates. A human mind reacts. It just thinks. That's all it's good for. But you use your intuition, quote, your ability to do these different things of calculations and stuff, still brain work, but not anywhere comparative to the collective intelligence that you are. But it's a great thing. It's part of the human. It's not ridicule here. So everyone relax. We're not ridicule. We're just showing you what's happening. So out of this memory, you go, oh, I hope for this. And then you build an image of what you've experienced it can possibly be. And then you set goals to get to that. And you set goals by gathering intel. What can I do? So you're living in time. You're not living now. But see, that's what law of attraction is for. That's built in. It's a law. It's never going to go away. You're always going to attract what you're vibrating. And by the way, everyone out there in La La Land, listen close. You don't attract positive and negative. You attract authentic. Because the mirror vibration doesn't speak positive and negative. That's an interpretation of a dualistic reality called human. Learn that, masters. So out of the memory is how you birth time. because you remember yesterday, last week, last year, childhood, and out of that you can create possibilities through experience of others of futures. But why do you want to know your future? Because if you, Master, and I'm telling you this, if you chose your authentic self every moment, you would only attract the things that resonate with your natural vibration, and there is no need for something better because you are in bliss as the nature of us in now. I never look for anything more. I can't have more because I'm all that is. I'm always more. Being now is more because every second I am breathing, I am walking, I am talking, I am experiencing. I'm growing, I'm evolving, I'm moving. But see, up here in this ego mind, we have priorities. Humans have priorities. And I've had several fractals on the earth, so I'm not speaking from the diarrhea of someone who's never walked a human. So I've lived the human, and I understand the absolute value, the seduction of the identity, to be an image, to maintain a self, to do the things that others do because this is the way it's done, and try to manage that from a perspective of inside doing the best you can using a brain that could be or could not be wired. Roxanne's wired. Brain isn't wired for work. It's not school. It's not remembering. It's not education. She loves to talk and play in nature and dance outside when the moon is full. That's a nature of her. She embraced that to create that life. But see, the ego fights what is a good life because it learned this is success. This is a better life. This, blah, 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 on down the road. And everyone down here says, I need a good job. I need to have I need to have a house. I need to have a car. I need to do things. Now, of course, I'm subjectively talking about Roxanne's personal life living in America, but there are other countries that don't have such obsessions. But I guarantee you they have relationships of externalism, because that's what humanity breeds, is external dependencies. The outside is how I create myself. Instead of I choose the inside to create an attracted reality that matches my resonance. But Master, it doesn't happen overnight. You've got to get busy and tells you what you are. Forget about your resume. Forget about what you were. None of that does anything for you. Transient knowledge does nothing for you. It just makes you feel good. It's like a bonbon. You just eat it and go, yummy. Okay, I need another one. I need another one. I need something else to keep me going. No, that's the idea of that transient knowledge that doesn't do any work on the inside. Internal work is deconstructing the personality you've created through your separation. For two reasons we did this. A, to experience not being God. Humans don't think they're God. They have God up here on a pedestal. They have God over here. They have God in a cow. They have God on the moon. They have God everywhere except here. This is God. This is eternal. This is creator. I am is not talking about the God in the Bible. I am is talking about you. Go to the mirror and say, I am. And I shall have no other gods before me. Probably the most selfish statement ever, isn't it? That you actually have to take care of you before you take care of others. When everything down here is to take care of others, because then you'll be a good person and people will like you because you've dedicated your life to doing good. How about doing unconditional love? How about representing something that doesn't limit itself to a polarized definition of someone's standards that lives outside in some tower? And you're gonna covet that? No. You learn to observe the inside. So these people that are feeling these emotions inside of themselves must recognize and say, wait a minute. What is the future going to do better for me? How about me now understanding who I am and developing the person I am by nature and not by habit? So that means you have to scrutinize everything you do, the food you eat, the clothes you wear, the way you do everything. Is this me or is this an image? Am I supposed to be doing this, or am I doing it because I want to create an outside image? And now I recognize that, I can keep doing it. You know why? Because no one's judging, because no one's in charge. The only judge I've ever had is the monkey in my mind that says, that's not right. Oh, you have people that might judge you, but no one judges you unless you let them sit on your porch. No one comes into your house unless you say yes. And none of us knew when we're fractals that we had the ability to say no. And we built the personalities, but that's the game, masters. The second part of that, the first part was not knowing your God. The second part of it is an absolute, priceless joy of potentializing yourself to wake up and being an entire, full, well-remembered God here in the physical plane of humanity. An ascended master, if you will. So don't worry about your future, because you create that in your now. And I guarantee you, if you start to get to know yourself and you make choices not out of reaction and out of the things that the emotional ideas solicit you as an emotion, solicit your behavior as a way to create your world, if you start recognizing and choosing that intuitive part that is the more nature of you, your reality will become a priceless kingdom. It'll be you on your throne once again, instead of some false god calling the shot, because emotionally, that's the right thing to do. But by nature, that ain't me. So not all parts of you are wrong or right. They're truths. But all parts of you are the truths that you create by validating and continuing the same behavior. So if you are anxietal, or you can't stand up to somebody, or you're fearful and you repeat that behavior, nothing changes in your life. But you have to take a chance and say no to that person that you don't know how to say no to. Say yes to that person that you want to be a part of their life, and say, yes, I will do that for you because that's my nature. Say yes to the things that you want to say yes to, but your ego goes, don't take a chance, because what happens if every time you hear, you have this, listen, masters, you have a thought that says, awesome, I love it. And then you have a but. As soon as you hear the but, stop listening. Because the but is the ego telling you what might happen and to keep you safe and secure from failure, ridicule, and demise. And that's a story, and guess what? Your life will never change. The saying goes up here. The reason why your past is because you're God. And the reason why your future is going to be what it is because you're God. You create your own reality. But people think create means manifestations. Create is the goodness and this and that. Is ideas, is protest. That's the distortion, masters. Creating your own reality is finding the self you are by nature, the persona that is there, right there, every day. But you are flooded and veiled by a personality. And that personality creates your reality through its truths. So why would Roxanne be afraid to be a woman? Because she had ridicule, she had guilt, she had fear. She had fear of physical and mental abuse. So she couldn't be that until she worked up the courage to not be what she's supposed to be and what she wanted to be by nature. And she did. And she is by no means a passable transgender. So it was incredibly tough for her to be out in the world and being judged. But she felt an alignment, a complete resonance of, I'm aligned with me, finally. I'm never going to give up this self. Because you can't. Once you know yourself, you don't play games. You don't play fake people. You don't put on masks anymore. But it takes a year. You know how long it took Jesus, right? 40 years to deconstruct his ego. 40 years. And then he figured it out. So you go and do the work. Every day you recognize and you transcend those truths. You choose new truths And those new truths attract new versions of people, new versions of reality, new parallel Earths that you could never get to that have whatever you're getting. If you remember your Abraham Hicks, Abraham said, everything you've always wanted is waiting to get to you, but humans keep resisting against the attraction because it's not perceived by the expectation of the ego on the possibility of getting that without the proper things in place. An example of that is you can go down the street. I can find $20. Sure, that'd be awesome. I can do that. Can you find $1 million? See, the only difference between 20 and $1 million is vibration. One little frequency of shift becomes $1 million. But see, to the ego, that's monumental. I deserve 20, but there's no way I can ever find millions. So that resistance allows the vibration to resist the attraction of the possibility of finding $1 million on the street. That's how humans resist their own truths. And it's no one's fault, guys. You wanted this. You got in line for this. You couldn't wait to be here. The experience of not being God. How exceptional is that? But once you woke up, I think you owe it to yourself to transcend the personality and allow the persona to be developed, nurtured, and expressed once again. And become a divinicus, as we call them. It's another species that's being created as a possibility. Kind of like when humanity ascends the third density and moves into the fourth density or the fifth dimension, then that there becomes Homo galacticus. And they're going to live on a, still Gaia, but a fourth density version of Gaia.
Well, thank you so much, Roxanne.
Sly, Roxy's in the background. Still Sly here.
Sly,
Honest,
thank
honest.
you, Sly.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Let's do this again. I kind of need to keep it a little bit short today because I have so much to do. But thank you so much, and let's schedule in again in a couple of weeks, maybe. Please, can you share how people can find you and what services you do offer?
Yeah, hang on. Well, I'm going to let Roxanne do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me get her back in here. Hang on. Hello, hon. How are you? You good?
Yes.
Did you enjoy Sly? I love Sylvester.
Thank you. He's
You're
very
welcome.
passionate.
Well, yeah. He's not dumbed down by what we're supposed to be. He's a raw God. A God that doesn't have an image to maintain. How freeing is that? I love Sly. Anyways, I heard you ask the question, how can you get in contact with me? Well, I have my website, and if you can link it or do whatever.
Yes,
that's
please.
Yeah, odysseyofascension.com. What's that?
If you could send me your bio as well, I will include the in the description box your bio.
Yeah. I think I have something on. Yeah, I have something on my website. I can send that to you. So it takes you Odyssey of Ascension, the website. I have ongoing classes where Sly teaches, Martha teaches, and of course we always have entities that come in depending on what we're working on. Those happen Wednesdays on Zoom. Wednesdays, Zoom, 7 p.m. Central. It'll tell you that. That's USA time. Everything is recorded. So I have many students that live in South Africa, numerous places around Europe. I don't know, like 5 or 7, I think 6, 7, and that live in New Zealand / Australia. So wherever you are, you can always watch the recording, and so you can join the classes without physically joining in the Zoom. And of course, I have a session available on that same page that says classes. I'm doing an event, and I'm going to promote this now. In August, I'm going to do a in-person workshop and a channeling in Sebastopol, California. That's on the website as well. So if you go to the website, you can read all that information. I would love for you guys to join in or, you know, check me out on my website if you would. And of course, my YouTube will be on my website, and you can go right there. It's Odyssey of Ascension. You'll see the same triangle, my symbol there. And I have 845 videos that I have been putting up over the years. And they're all named, and they're different ideas about what do you want to talk. You want to talk about relationship with money, relationship with love, just the big ones, and different ideas on transcendence and recognition. So all of these things that get you to start creating a life according to you, and instead of according to the ego that you don't recognize is the ego because you think it's you. Well, of course you think it's you because it's been you your whole life until you have the awakening and you can observe, hey, this might not be me. That's your opportunity to start changing. So all of that is in there on the YouTube as well. And so I will send you my link, and I will send you back in this email my bio, and then you can do what you do.
Thank you, Roxanne.
You're
And
welcome.
I would also like to share that I'm in Florida in July I'm speaking at Brian Seng's conference called Full Disclosure Now, which is in Florida in July, 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th of July. And so I'm very much looking forward to that.
That
And
sounds exciting.
it's very exciting. And he's given me a discount code for people that I'll link in the description box as well. So yeah, uh, until next time, um, take care of yourself, and I shall see you very soon.
Anytime, Soma. It was wonderful to meet you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care now, though.